My name is Lin Huynh. I'm the founder and host of Fan to Fame. We're here today with VCU's men's basketball standout and starting guard, KeShawn Curry. How you doing, KeShawn?
I'm doing good, man. I can't really complain.
Hey,
Another
you
day in
guys,
paradise.
I was going to say, speaking of paradise, you guys just wrapped up as a team playing a tournament down in the Bahamas, Battle for Atlantis. How's that down there? How's it been Thanksgiving down there?
It was great, man. That's a great tournament. Bahamas is a great place. That was a great resort that we stayed at. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was life changing for real. It was my first time playing at Battle of Atlantis. So it was definitely good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was cold up here, so being down there definitely worked out. I'd rather have been down there than up here for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely lovely out there.
That's cool. Hey, so speaking of like warm weather, you're from Jacksonville, Florida, which is the top of Florida, but still a lot warmer than what it is up in Virginia. But can you just talk about your early life and how'd you get into basketball?
So my early life, I was playing baseball and football up to 8th grade, and then all my friends started playing basketball around that time. So I was like, why not try it? I started playing basketball in the 8th grade with my friends just for fun, just to be around my friends more, hang out with my friends more. And I fell in love with the game in the 8th grade. So probably around like 13, 14, started playing the game. After that, I just, kept playing it. My brother seen that I could be good at it, so he pushed me to keep playing it, pushed me to work harder in it, stuff like that. And went to high school, kept playing, got the opportunity to go to Fort Union Military Academy to keep playing. At Fort Union Military Academy, I got the call from Coach J.D. Byers. And from there, I ended up here at VCU.
Fort Union Military Academy. That's a very well known prep school for I think anyone who's into sports. A lot of key players either do really well in college or even go to the pros. How's that experience being a military school? Was that eye opening for you?
That them 9 months that I was at Fort Union probably was the hardest 9 months of my life. Only because it was so much structure that I didn't have, in high school, waking up every day at 6 o'clock, making my bed as soon as I wake up, marching to lunch, marching from lunch, marching to breakfast, just so much of a military prestige school.
Right.
I wouldn't say I wasn't prepared for that. JRTC in high school did not prepare me for that.
Right. No, I hear you on that. I work a lot with the military, so I know how it is. It's very structured, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Definitely a good thing.
But it's definitely a culture change for sure. So being there, I'm sure it definitely helped you probably with your transition to the college level. Like, first off, how did VCU happen? How'd you get recruited there, and why VCU?
So crazy story. The day before my high school graduation, I actually was walking into graduation practice, and I looked down at my phone, and Coach JD had texted me, and he was like, "Hey, we're interested in you in VCU. Like, and what you think?" When I came to FUMA, and, I was practicing at FUMA. They kept coming to practice, kept coming. Like every time we had an open practice where coaches could come, they was there. So when it came to deciding, I just was deciding on the school that showed me the most amount of love during my recruitment process, and who was always there when I looked in the stands, and who was always there when I looked at the paper to see what recruits was there and stuff like that. So after I went on my unofficial, my official, I seen that they were so family oriented and they care so much more about what's off the court than on the court. It was a pretty good decision.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad choice at all. VCU, I remember being from Virginia. I remember with the days of Eric Maynor. He was probably the biggest splash coming out of VCU at the time. And I would say I didn't really know much about VCU basketball until him. But ever since then, there's been a few folks after that. And then, coming from the CAA to the A10, that's really helped. Now, when you look at VCU, you guys are all the big tournaments like we just talked about earlier. You guys are always breaking people's brackets. Now it's, when people think of VCU basketball, it's not just a small school, which is not a small school at all. It's the biggest school of VCU. But for basketball, you guys are considered prime time now. Aside from VCU, like what other schools are looking at you?
Oh man, you want to get into that?
I'm sure there's a whole Christmas list of it, but what schools were you considering aside from VCU?
Once I got up here, besides VCU, I was considering NC State. I got some phone calls from VTech in Virginia. But the school that I probably would have ended up at besides VCU probably would have been like probably been East Tennessee State University, ETSU, only because I had a great relationship with their coaches from Charleston Southern as well.
Okay. No, that'd have been a little bit closer to home, just a little bit. But I'm glad you're at VCU because
Nah,
again,
me
being from
too.
Virginia, I'm always rooting for the Virginia schools, especially guys nearby. So I'm glad it worked out.
No, definitely.
Did you? So what team did you root up like growing up? Like who'd you root for like college wise? Did you root for VCU at all, or was it East Tennessee State?
Honestly, no lie, I didn't know anything about VCU. Like I literally just really started playing basketball for probably 3 years of for 1 year in middle school, 4 years of
Yeah.
4 years of high school, and then right into college. So I probably been playing basketball for probably now we add up all the years, 9, 10 years. So I
Wow.
really wasn't into like the teams and
Right.
who was good and where to go. Like when I started, my recruitment process was very new to me. I didn't know how to handle the recruitment process. I didn't know how to feel during the recruitment process. Um, so it was that for real.
No, I hear
So,
you on
so it
that.
went like that.
That's interesting to hear because I feel like nowadays, especially the generation like yours, people start playing ball right when they start walking. And you guys are
Yeah,
lifting at the age of like this kid swole to me that's like 10 years old, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, for
15 years
real. That'd be
old.
like 6'6".
Exactly. So for you to start at a little bit delayed, I think that most people, especially playing at the level you are, you would never imagine that. I thought you've been playing since you're like probably 5 or 6. So
Nah, see, my first love was baseball. I used to
yeah,
love baseball. Like that's all I used to ever want to do. I remember getting my first bat, going in the batting cage for the first time. But growing up, the school that I always wanted to attend was Purdue. I don't know why I always wanted to go to
yeah.
Purdue, but Purdue was probably that one school that when I was good, I was like, dang, I want to go to Purdue. I want to play for Purdue.
You're trying to get away from home, weren't you?
Yeah, I was trying to get far away.
That's funny. How was baseball? Do you still play baseball at all? And
Nah,
did you get any
I don't
scholarship for
really get into it.
baseball?
I was young. I stopped playing baseball 6th, 7th grade for real.
Okay.
Stopped playing, hopped in basketball, hopped in the life of basketball.
So when they saw you getting taller, they're like, you gotta switch sports.
Yeah, my friends was playing it. They like, man, come out here and play with us, so we can hang out more. So, after school, we can still hang out. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come out. Kept playing it, made the team, and hey, got better
Rest is
as the years
history.
went on, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Speaking about growing up, from my understanding, you were number 11 because of Kyrie Irving. Is
Yeah,
that your
that
favorite
was the
player?
beginning.
Or
That was the beginning. That was the beginning. That was the younger me,
that was younger
talking.
year?
That was the younger me talking, just needing something to say during the time when they asked me that question. Yes, I like Kyrie. Kyrie is not my favorite player. My favorite player actually is Russell Westbrook because how aggressive he play, how fast in transition he is. And that's how I like to play. I like to play fast in transition. I like to play above the rim. So that's my favorite guy. But I wear number 11 honestly now because of I say those are my angel numbers now
Yeah.
for my family.
Okay. Whether it be Kyrie or Russell Westbrook, I think those are two great choices. I was about to say your style of play when I watch you reminds me more of a Westbrook. The way you attack the rim, the way you're athletic.
Yeah,
That's why I was going to ask you. Like Kyrie's nice and all, but when I see you, the way you play versus him is a little bit different. But when you say Russell Westbrook, I can see that.
yeah, that's my favorite player. Russell Westbrook, my favorite player, just because if you got to chase Russell Westbrook, you're gonna lose.
Yeah,
You're gonna lose every time.
yeah, that's true. Did you ever get to see him play when he was here in DC last year?
No, I got to see him play one time when I was up in Orlando.
Oh, okay. No, that's cool. Well, hey, you're at VCU again. You're a senior. It's probably crazy for you to think about. You're a senior now. You probably can remember your first day, probably your first visit. But how have you grown as a person, as a player since day one?
I've grown as a person. I honestly, I became more mature, more
Yeah.
focused on the moment instead of trying to control the future. I learned more to live in the moment, live in the present, and that kind of molded me to become who I am on the court. So from start to finish, man, the biggest thing that I've learned here at VCU was just becoming who I am, knowing who I am, and becoming the person that I want to be for real, for real.
No, I definitely hear you on that. It's been a few years. I've been a few years out of college, but I can remember the first day I stepped on campus or visited, and now where I'm at now, and especially like 4 years later, it just flies by.
Yeah,
So, one thing I
it
say,
does.
just,
It went by fast.
embrace it, because, outside of sports, I'm sure there's a lot of friendship you're going to take out of this. I always tell people, and I know for myself, you kind of grow up with some people by default as your friends. They're on your own, and you got to meet people on your own. That's you kind of gravitate to the same people
No,
as
that's
you.
true.
So
No,
yeah, that's cool,
that's
man.
valid.
What's the pros and cons of being a student athlete? I think a lot of people, they see like the glamour side that you get to travel, you're on television. But how is it? Like, what's the pros and cons to it in your opinion?
The life that come with it, as you said, the traveling, the being on TV, the being able to make your name and
Right.
build your name. I feel like as a college athlete, it's easy to build a name for yourself, easy to put yourself out there, easy to network with guys
Mm-hmm.
after college. But yeah, man. Man, I don't even know.
How's the,
I don't even
because
know.
I worked for Radford's basketball team, so I see like even though I didn't play, I saw like the day to day, like lifting in the mornings, like 2 a days during the winter time when
Yeah,
everyone's going back
that's
home to see the
that,
family.
that
You
that'll be a
guys are
con.
there.
That'll be a con. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the cons. Well, I'll go home maybe twice a year. I go
Yeah.
home. That's a con. I'm up every morning early, getting it in, but that's just loving the game of basketball. Another con, balancing
Yeah, it's tough.
school and hoops. That's another con. But there's not really a lot of cons to being a Division One athlete,
Yeah.
man. It's a dream. So when you
Yeah.
look at it, you look at those things. You just look at those things as being opportunities to get better, opportunities to learn myself, opportunities to grow as a human.
How do you balance it? Like, on the road and missing some classes. Like, how do you balance that? Because I think for a lot of folks, for me, I was even a student athlete, but having to just like study was hard. So I can only imagine for you who's on the road and whatnot. How do you balance that?
You got to be able to have two lives. You got to be able to have a life of basketball, and you got to be able to have a regular life. So when I'm not on the court or I'm not doing anything towards basketball, I'm just KeShawn. I'm a regular
Yeah.
guy, a regular person. I do everything just as everyone else. So, but when I'm on the court, I'm strictly basketball. Off the court, I'm strictly KeShawn. Whatever I need to do, whatever needs to be done. So that's how I balance it. I split my lives into two.
Yeah. I think that's everything, right? So everything, you got to balance it out. Can't do too much of something, can't do little of something. You got to find a middle ground for it.
Yeah, gotta just get it done.
Just got to get it done. Like you said, yeah,
Just gotta get it
sometimes
done.
I always kind of joke around, I remember my parents used to joke with me, my friends, like the only way to teach you discipline and like managing your time is give you no time. You got to find
Yeah.
time then to do things. So I think a lot of stuff that you as a student athlete could carry along a lot of ways, like in the future. Because whether you play professional ball in the future, which I'm sure that will happen, you don't get to focus on school no more. Or if you go into the business world and start working, you don't got that sport. So you're probably gonna go crazy thinking about all that time you got.
All that time, man. I be talking to some of my friends as pros, and they be like, "You got a lot of downtime where you got
Yeah.
to find out stuff to do."
Yeah. Find stuff to do to keep you out of trouble. That's what it
Nah,
is.
fact.
So VCU this year, do you guys, I think we were predicted fourth, I think, in the Atlantic 10 this year.
Yeah.
Right now, you guys, despite the record, I still think you guys could have a pretty good run this season because you guys had a lot of good tests early on already, especially in that tournament y'all just played. But how's the season going on for you? And like, what's the mindset moving forward?
Even though we're 3-4, I feel like we still got a lot of more games to play
Yeah.
and a lot of more wins that we're going to get. Being that we play so many big schools, so many great programs, is going to allow us, our older guys and our young guys, to be more confident in what we do and believe more in ourselves. Being that we play, the defending champions is Baylor, we go in and play, UConn, Syracuse, teams like that. It's definitely going to help us in conference play. It's definitely going to help us along the road once we meet adversity and we hit certain walls. It's definitely going to allow us to climb walls and get over mountains for sure.
No, definitely. And that's what I was looking at too, just based on the schools y'all played already. It's just the power conferences. You guys held your own. You guys have some pretty big wins already. But most important is about that conference play, like you just touched on. Another thing you just mentioned too was, kind of being the more experienced player. How is that? Like, what do you share with the new guys who just joined, like the freshmen or the sophomore? What's the recommendation you shared with them? And what's the recommendation you would share to a new high school kid that just becomes a freshman and playing ball? What's your advice?
The advice that I tell my young guys, go harder than me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going harder than me, then you're doing everything you need to be doing. If you're not going harder than the next guy, then you're not looking to play or you're not looking to benefit your team. If you're going harder than the senior, then you looking to make an impact. And guys who take into going harder than a senior really become who they want to become.
That's a good advice. Keeps you pushing and gets them going too.
Yeah, because if you're going harder than me, I'm going harder because I don't want you to steal my minutes. So now I'm trying to go harder than you. Now it's a battle of who's going the hardest, and that's never a bad thing in a program.
When you reflect back so far, I mean, you still got a whole year. Like I said, it's still early in the season, but up to this point, what's your favorite part, or most memorable part, being a VCU Rams?
Playing in front of the Ram Nation, playing in front of the fans. I'm glad the fans are back. That's probably my favorite thing, playing at home and hearing the crowd and feeling the floor vibrate.
Do you definitely think there's a different type of motivation having a crowd there versus last year? It's just empty seats besides the people that work there.
Oh, definitely. Last year playing was crazy. It was crazy looking at the stands and you don't see nobody. Now you can hear it, you can enjoy it. It's funner. It's more fun being able to play in front of guys and ladies came to watch you play.
Exactly. No, I hear you on that. I remember growing up when I played up to high school ball in the AAU and whatnot, but my motivation is like, seeing the females up in the crowd rooting for you, that kept me going.
That do make you want to go a little harder.
It makes you go harder, right? It makes you go harder.
Makes you want to jump a little higher, dribble a little more.
No, that's funny. No, I mean, I'm so happy, sports is back to normal. Even as a fan watching, I couldn't stay as engaged when there was no fans there. I used to complain about fans. I was like, some fans, like, they kind of do too much. But I'm like, you know what? That kind of brings the part of the game, though. It makes it exciting.
Yeah.
So I kind of take part of the game
now. Yeah. Fans are definitely a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They play a big part of the game.
What would you tell yourself, the one that just came onto campus the first day? You kind of touched on what you would share with the lower class, the freshman and the sophomore. But if you're KeShawn now and you looked at yourself on day one, what would you tell yourself?
It's crazy. I've been thinking about this question right here, this answer. I've been asking myself this for probably like the last 4 days. I kid you not. I've been trying to figure out.
What made you start thinking about it? Is it now just sinking in that it's your senior year per se?
Growing as a person, I'm like, what would I tell myself if I'm just getting back here? And the biggest thing I probably tell myself is to stay focused. It's been times where I've hit bumps in the road and I feel like I lost my focus.
Yeah.
But now I tell myself just to stay focused with whatever you're doing, the ups, the downs, just stay focused.
How do you do that though? Like, how do you stay focused?
I might not seem like, but I'm very antisocial. I stay to myself a lot.
Yeah.
So I stay focused by just staying to myself, playing video games. If we wasn't on this podcast right now, I'd probably be playing a video game. But that's mainly how I stay focused. From the gym to the room, from the room back to the gym.
Yeah.
I just been staying focused by trying to be in the gym as much as I can.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I definitely have that aspect of me. I think everyone needs their me time. I think that's the time where you kind of reflect, whether it be good or bad, but sometimes when you're just on the move so much, you don't really have time to really just think. It sounds cliche, but I just feel like everyone needs that downtime.
Yeah, you definitely need me time. Yeah, definitely need too much of something is not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, some fun facts I want to dive into. So I went on YouTube and I saw a video of you skateboarding. Is that another hobby of yours?
Yeah, man, I can skateboard. I can do a little something, man. I can skateboard, ripstick, stuff like that. Got a few hobbies.
So baseball player, video games, a skateboarding, a baller. You do a little everything, bro.
Yeah, man. I played a lot of sports growing up too, so did a lot.
My favorite game was one of the favorite games. Even though I wasn't a skater, was the Tony Hawk games. Those
that was the best game. That was the best game. Right around the city on a skateboard, trying to make the guy fall off. That was the best thing.
That's cool. Did you do a lot of that back in being down in Florida with the weather being warmer all year round?
Yeah, me and my cousins used to ride the ripsticks, the 2-wheel ones, and we used to ride them like down big hills just to see how fast we can go and stuff like that.
No, cool.
Definitely.
Everyone has their own ritual, kind of get them pumped up for the game. For me, it was always like listen to music. What's your ritual? Is it music? And if so, who do you listen to? What's your jam right now?
I'm a big music guy. Big on music. I'm a big music guy. So I listen to music more than I talk. honestly. I probably sing more than I talk. So I definitely listen to music. I got a playlist that I listen to.
Who's on your
And after
playlist?
that, little people like Lil Papa, Adele, Billie Eilish,
You said
stuff
Adele?
like that. Yeah, I
Really?
listen to a
Okay.
lot of
All right.
Adele. Actually, I was listening to Adele right before this podcast. Definitely
Okay.
Adele. I listen to a lot of Adele, a lot of Billie Eilish, a lot of Lil Papa, stuff like that.
That's
And
dope.
I just talk to my brother, and then I get ready for the game.
That's cool. No, that's real cool. So a big reason why I put this podcast together is to talk to folks like yourselves who's kind of been through it all. I think there's a lot of kids, you probably know a lot of folks too, who had the talent, but might not have that mindset, that support to kind of get them over the hump. I can think about guys back at home. I'm like, man, they should be on TV right now, but it's
Right.
not, right? So I think for someone like you, who's pretty much doing it right now, I think it's valuable for you to share that, because who better than someone who's done it? So what advice would you share for like a high school player trying to get a scholarship to like a VCU or like any type of college to play ball?
Gotta getting the offer. Getting the offer is not the hardest thing to do. Keeping the offer, I feel like it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
So as what I probably tell a high school guy who's trying to get an offer to VCU is you gotta outwork everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just you have to outwork everybody. You got to do all the things that a lot of guys don't want to do, like the things that show up in the stats. It might be you got to play defense. You don't have to score 13, 14 points. See, a lot of guys now think you got to score 20, 25 to become a Division I athlete. But realistically, if you good at one thing, do that thing at your best ability, and whatever is going to happen for you will happen for you.
I like that advice though. It's like kind of like stay in your own lane, but just don't think you got to be superhero. Like play your part.
Yeah.
Because even nowadays in NBA, like back in the day, I know like when I was growing up, everyone was like 6'6" or taller. Like it was rare to see like a smaller guys, and everything was like down low, post up. Now it's about spreading the court out, being just versatile, playing any position.
Yeah.
So
to be honest,
definitely.
yeah. You got to think about it. A lot of people get paid 20, 40 million to shoot corner shots, to play
That'll
defense,
just get rebounds, right? Like Tristan Thompos, he just gets rebounds all day, but he does his part.
He's good at one thing and he do it at his best ability.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have to be LeBron, KD, Kyrie, you know.
That's true.
It's okay to be, you know, some of the role guys who's also making big impacts and winning championships on their team.
Absolutely. So KeShawn Curry, like when people hear that name, what's your brand? What do people think of, or what do you want people to think of?
Man, when you hear my name, I just want you to think of a fun guy. I'm a fun guy. I just want you to think of a very energetic and fun guy, somebody who you would want to be around.
Hey, everyone likes that, right? Everyone wants to have a good time with no drama. There's always gonna be some drama there, but someone that's always positive. I can tell you like that.
Yeah, I'm all smiles, all smiles. I'm all about good energy, good vibes.
That's how it should be, man. Because you never know when you rub, you don't know what people are going through. So just that one thing you do, just holding the door, just saying hi, or just smiling, man, that impacts a lot of people. So
it does.
Kudos to you for doing that, man. I try to be the same way. So moving forward, you know, you're wrapping up your last year. You've accomplished a lot. We've reflected on a few things that you guys have done already as a team and individually. But what's next for you after graduation? Are you gonna go to grad school and play elsewhere, or continue VCU? Go play pro? What's your dreams, man?
Looking to go pro, looking to play at a professional level, whether it's NBA or overseas somewhere. My dream was always to become a pro. So after the season, after this year, I'm looking to become a pro.
That's what's up, man. I have no doubt that's going to happen, bro. You're in a great position. You've done a lot, man. You started for VCU Rams, really well known program in the country. I appreciate everything, man. Before we wrap up, just want to ask you anything you want to share last minute.
Hey, I don't really got nothing to share. I feel like I gave a lot of advice, a lot of good pointers. But now I appreciate you for allowing me to come on your podcast and share some of my thoughts and some of the things I need to say.
No, absolutely. Good luck with everything, bro. When I see you on TV, I'm gonna say that's my boy right there.
Yeah.
And, we're gonna be in touch, man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right.